Hey there, my name is Michael Biggs. I recently did this animated short film music video thing in Unity. Took me a little bit less than a month to do it, which seemed pretty quick. And I thought it would be a cool idea to make this little behind the scenes video to kind of document how I did it. So I'm friends with this band called Muzzle Tung. I used to be in the band actually. I did a live action music video for them a couple of years ago, and for their latest album, they're doing a sort of narrative series with music videos. They asked if I wanted to do one of them. So for various reasons, I decided I was going to try and do an animation, and they gave me a 1-month deadline because they wanted to, for marketing reasons and things like that. I'm not sure exactly, but I have a little bit of experience with animation, and in all of my experience, it just takes forever, no matter what you're doing. That's the one takeaway that I always have. I tend to prefer 2D animation over 3D animation, just the look of it. Just the fact that you have hand-drawn images tends to give it more personality, I think, than 3D rendered images. So for this project, that was kind of my aesthetic, is I wanted to have as much hand-drawn 2D as possible. But obviously, given the time limitation and my own limitations in terms of drawing, making 3 minutes of totally hand-drawn animation in a month is not doable for me. So that brought me to Unity. Unity seemed like it's a good way of combining 2D and 3D. There's also good scripting capabilities. There's a lot of free assets. The program itself is free if you're non-commercial or lower budget. So a big part of why I did this project was because I wanted to try out the capabilities of Unity for animation in case I want to try and use it for some future project. I started out by just drawing storyboards. I'll show you the storyboards. Very rough. So I didn't write anything out. I just drew those drawings. I didn't do a second draft, which is probably actually the weakest part of this whole thing. Again, I was in a hurry, so I was kind of rushing through the whole project. And if I could do the whole thing over again, I would spend more time in that phase of it because the story itself is really the most important part. The next part is making a skybox, which in Unity is basically the environment that surrounds everything. So what I did was I wanted it to be to look like watercolor paintings. So I used a watercolor paper texture and a brush that I found in a tutorial. So basically this is just a digital painting. I did 3 variations on it for the 3 different scenes, backgrounds, and I'll link to a tutorial that shows how you turn one of these into a skybox. But basically that's going to be your background. That immediately gives you most of the look. The next thing is the animations. Again, I did all of these digitally, just with a Wacom tablet. These are all the drawings I did. So as you can see, most of them are reusing things. In this case, it's just the hair that changes. Sometimes only 3 frames of each thing. Pretty simple. And then this walk cycle is kind of the most, one of the more trickier things to draw. I used Animator Survival Kit. It's a classic book for animation. If you're interested in animation, you probably know about it, but if you don't, you should. So those are all the drawings I did. Quite a few, but not an insane amount. And they're really important because they are what give most of the personality to it. So once you have those, you can easily turn them into an animation clip in Unity. So let me show you. Here's this bird. If you've used animation in any other program like After Effects or Flash, you probably recognize these keyframes, and it works pretty much the same as in any program. You can put a keyframe for any of these properties, and you can make it grow and shrink, for example. Let's do that just for fun real quick. Let's put a scale. So we'll start with it. Oh, I gotta start recording. So start small. Make it grow big. So it looks stupid, but it's easy to do it. So with your hand-drawn drawings, all you need to do, let's put in this brontosaurus. So you just select them, drag them here into the hierarchy, and it'll make an animation clip. I'll just call it new animation for now. Okay, so we have this guy, and then you'll see here, automatically it'll do just each frame, I think. It'll plop in what you drew. So it'll do this. And you can adjust them, you can make them longer, you just drag them. So if you want it to hold there for a while and then change. Okay. So now it loops a little bit better. So those are animation clips, which affect just a single object. And then when we want to animate the interactions between various things, like the camera, and if we want to have, let's say we want to have this walking and this flying, then we're going to use a thing called the timeline, which I'll show you a little bit more later. Okay, here's another scene. And what we have is this walk cycle. And then, so basically the idea is with something like a walk cycle is there are only a handful of drawings, but this can loop forever. And then we can, using the timeline, we can animate walking along, and it looks like he's walking. The other thing that really saves time is that you can use free 3D assets. So for example, this volcano, I did not sculpt or make or draw. It was just something that I found online for free. There are a lot of people who make 3D things and then they just make them for free. All these trees also, same thing. There are several websites that have, there's some that you can pay for, and then there's a lot that are you don't have to pay for. They're just, people make them for their own reasons. So you can just download them, bring them in, and then you can put your own textures on them to color them. I wanted them to fit in with the general idea of it being 2D, so I used a toon shader. So the toon shader I used is called MK Toon, and this is just a free thing I got from the Unity store. There are probably better tune shaders out there, but I was not going to spend money. And then here's another guy. Here's another thing I made. This is this kind of ball man. The hat is a thing I imported. It was a free 3D asset. And then the spheres were just something that I made in Unity. That's built into Unity. You can make simple objects like cubes, cylinders. Here's a sphere. Get it bigger. So you can just drag something simple like this into the scene and texture it. So this is just made up of several of these, and then I animated all the motion, and then I wanted them to look metallic, so I used the standard shader metallic, and then I put a 2D texture on it, which is this. It's just this face. And then in order to get it to animate, I actually had to write a script. Let's see if I have that texture animator. So it's a pretty simple script. It just swaps out the texture based on timings that I give it. And then that makes it animated so that it blinks. So if you know how to do scripting, then it's cool because you can do extra things, but it's also not necessarily necessary. Just depends on what you're trying to do. So basically the process is making all the animations that I wanted to have, and then you build a scene with them here in Unity, and then it's kind of like making a regular movie where all you need is what you see in the camera, and you animate what you want to animate, and you can animate the camera as well. And this is all done in this timeline. Basically, it's the same as any other kind of animation on a computer. You just have keyframes. So this airplane has a keyframe to move. And then bird has, similarly, it moves and then it stops and then goes back and rotates. And then the camera zooms in so that you can see these are all my keyframes. Let's say I wanted the airplane to suddenly go up. There we go. So now it does that. Whee. So it's pretty easy to change the animations, and largely that's what the work ends up being, is figuring out the timings and making it look right. That's probably what most of the time is spent when you're doing an animation in Unity, is working with this. I also wrote a script to make the airplane shake in the wind like this. It's not a very good script, but it adds some kind of random shaking to it. And then when you put it all together, you get this shot. So then to render these out, you go to the recorder, you basically give it a format. There's different settings you can use, and then you hit start recording and then it plays through the scene, and then you just stop it and you've got a file, and then you can load that into whatever video editing program you're using and just edit like a regular movie. So that's about it. The process is pretty simple. It just takes a little bit of time to get the hang of it, but I would definitely recommend Unity if you want to do some animation. Let me know if there are any questions you have or any other things you'd like to know about. I'm working on a lot of different projects, but I would like to start doing these kind of videos more often. And be sure and check out the Muzzle Tung videos. I'll leave a link in the description to the one that I worked on as well as their other ones. And thanks for watching. Okay, bye.